United stand. It is the Friday night show. I'm joined with Adam, and we've got so many topics to get into tonight. We've got Erik ten Hag wanting to get players out of the door who he doesn't want to be part of the project ASAP. Manchester United willing to do everything they can to make this a winning project for Erik ten Hag, and Frenkie de Jong is his number one priority. He just needs convincing, and Manchester United are willing to go out and do that for him despite the money. We've got Koulibaly potentially being offered to Manchester United as an option as a centre-back, and we've also got the typical Milinkovic-Savic tweets coming out now saying that Milinkovic-Savic could leave Lazio this summer and his destination is Manchester United as a replacement for Paul Pogba. And due to his contract, apparently he's not going to cost that much money, Adam. But anyway, Adam, welcome to the show. Welcome everybody in the chat and in the comments. How is your day going? How is your Friday night, Adam?
Yeah, Friday night, talking football. What better way to do it? We've got transfer rumours and garbage to get through. We'll decide for that, and then everyone can tune into Mark on TalkSport at 10 o'clock as well. So double bubble for the evening, and what a Friday night that is. Exactly.
It's a great Friday night, and everyone's got loads of content all day and all night. So it's all good. It's all good. Anyway, kicking off the show with the first bit of news coming out from the Daily Star that Erik ten Hag is going to get tough on players who want to leave, and he's going to order them to be gone by the end of next month. Personally, for me, that is a big plus because you don't want any negativity weighing out the dressing room. But do you think this is going to happen? Do you think Manchester United are going to allow this? And what names do you see actually going this month if he's really going to get cracking and get them gone? Finally, people have been staying in that club for far too outstaying the welcome far too long, in my opinion.
100%. Not like the good old Daily Star, just to jump on obvious story. Congratulations to them on that one. But yeah, it's a general topic anyway, no matter who puts it out, in what paper it is or what journal. There's a long list, Beth, and he is going to have to get tough. Some big decisions are going to have to be made, and ultimately it will come down to the club. They're going to have to back him, like you said. They're going to have to be 100% behind what he wants to do for it to work. Because we've seen it with Ralf there. Any sort of lingering sort of unrest around that squad at all can have a massive effect. And we've seen it in full view for a good 6 months since Ralf's been in charge. Yeah, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well. Let's not forget that. So you've got to get, well, there's the obvious players that are out of contracts. Pointless trying to renew them. They've run the contracts down for a reason. So they clearly don't want to be at the club. So there's your obvious ones. And then you're looking at the ones that are hanging around and not playing at all. And by that, I mean the Eric Bailly's, Henderson, Phil Jones, these sort of players that are contracted up, but we know they're not going to play. Wan-Bissaka is in that list as well for me. I talked in depth about that on the show the other day regarding what we can get for him, to scrape what we can. We can buy a player with that. I think there's rumours that Martial could be linked in with any sort of deal to try and bring another player in as well because he wants out. Beth, there's a squad. Well, there's a full 11. There's a full team that needs to leave this summer for their own reasons in particular. We know about them. We've discussed them in detail. Mainly all the ones that I've just mentioned there. But you could name them all, Beth, and you couldn't tell me what contribution they have given us this season in any sort of great detail because there hasn't been a contribution from all of them players. So it says it itself. If you're not going to use them, get the hell out and let's get some fresh blood in who wants to play for Erik ten Hag. So for me, and it's even players now that are thinking of changing their mind, Beth. Oh, new manager's coming in. No, you down tools months ago and left us where we are in the league right now, the worst Premier League season ever. Don't start crying and crawling back now that we've got a manager that looks like he's got something about him. Them players can go as well. I might not have many left at the end of it, but I don't really care. I'd rather see a bit of youth mixed in with some fresh meat, and there we go. Let Ten Hag do his thing, but definitely back him in terms of getting players out more, Beth, than bringing players in is important for me in that one.
Exactly. I think it's you hit the nail on the head there. It's absolutely massive that we want players there that want to play for Manchester United. I mean, if we were going off this season and who's down tools, we'd have no team left, like you just said. So some people have got to be taken into consideration whether people like it or not, just simply because I was saying earlier on the afternoon show, like if in a dream world, to be able to get loads of new players in this summer and be able to fill nearly every position, which I think nearly every position needs improvement, but we can't do that. It's only one summer, but a big start to that is getting players out who don't want to play. I mean, we know the ones that are leaving on a free, but you've got to try and get the money for players that aren't going to make it in Erik ten Hag's project. If Martial really wants to leave, go and get money for him. Someone will pay a decent amount of money for him. We won't get loads, but cut your losses, get what you can get. Same when it comes to players like Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Could even get a little bit of money for Eric Bailly. I mean, Ed Woodward made sure to lock him into a very big contract, so you could get a little bit of money for him. So it'll just be interesting to see how quick them deals happen, because you're going to need to generate some money for transfers as well. If Manchester United are really going to give Ten Hag the money that we hope they do, they need to generate some money for transfers. So hopefully that does happen. Moving on to Frenkie de Jong, he's been a hot topic as of late over the last few days. I mean, it feels like every time you look now, there's more news coming out about him and people saying whether they think it's going to happen, whether they think it isn't going to happen. I think it's just whether we can convince the player and whether another club doesn't come in that has UCL football. Like, I think if Man City or Bayern come knocking as soon as we're in the middle of the deal, I think it all completely changes and he changes his mind on where he wants to go. But do you think it's the right move for Manchester United to fully go out there, back Erik ten Hag and spend, because he's going to be like 70 million, 68 million on this player and bring his number one priority into Old Trafford, someone that knows Erik ten Hag, someone that's worked with him before, and someone who's going to understand the project that he's going to be trying to build at United?
Well, this is it. It's been earmarked as another marquee signing. I've had loads of people DM me and say, what do you reckon to this? And that should we be blowing half of our budget on a marquee signing? Well, it's not really marquee, is it? It's not. It's the price tag and what it's being built up into be. Ten Hag has highlighted a player that he thinks will fit the mould at Manchester United. This is the first test. If Ten Hag wants him, then I'm sorry, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. We're backing the manager. You go and get him and you make it happen. Yeah, you will be talking budget, but then that's it. He's thinking midfield. He'll bring, I'm sure if Frankie comes in, then Donny's going to come back into the fold as well. He's already got a link up there. And I mean, how many partnerships have we built up over a season, Beth, in certain positions? I can't remember one decent partnership, whether it be left wing, left back, the same on the other side, centre back partnership, a front three or a front two. There's not been one combination all season that's worked. But if you look at all the top teams around, you look at different combinations all over the pitch. If it's Jorginho and Conte at Chelsea, you've got obviously Mane, Salah at Liverpool. Let's not get into City. It's just a full mix all over. They can mix it up and they all work together. But we ain't got any. I don't think we've had any sort of partnership or a part of the pitch that's actually worked well for us. Like you said, we need improvement everywhere, don't we? But in terms of Frenkie de Jong, I would say, look, if it is real that Ten Hag wants him, you're just going to have to go and get it. This is a man who knows what his budget is. And that rolls back to what we said earlier, Beth. If we are going to spend a big chunk of money on one player, you are going to have to recoup some of that money in them player outings that we just discussed. And that's where the club have to really get down to work and say, look, cut some losses. If you sold Wan-Bissaka for 20 million, you're cutting, a third of that price of Frenkie de Jong off, and he's not going to play. You got a bit more money back in the budget, and you go again. You've got to be smart with it. It's got to be a bit of money ball going on, and it's down to the powers that be and who they will be. That's another. I don't know at the moment. I don't know who's going to have the power to back him upstairs or what the actual the ladder is in terms of hierarchy right now at Manchester United, because there's a lot of big names left already from upstairs. So you never know. We may see a different Manchester United approach this summer when it comes to transfers. But I would expect come this time next weekend that there'll already be some movement in that window. If not sooner, I think maybe next week. I think we may hear news. I would expect to hear news, Beth, is what I would say, because there's no time to lose on it.
Definitely, and I think this is a deal if it happens, which it seems like it's all leaning in the right direction that it will happen. But obviously, Barcelona do need to sell; they need the money, so they're going to be probably trying to push De Jong as well, without obviously coming across as like they're trying to shove him out of the club. They're going to push him to go to Manchester United as well. That connection with Ten Hag, without that, he never would be coming to Manchester United in the state that we're in. There would be absolutely no possibility. But I mean, first when I was like 70 million, but then it's De Jong, a world-class midfielder in my opinion, that these opportunities only crop up every so often, and I feel like when they do crop up, you've really got to take advantage of it. So if we're spending 70 million on De Jong, it just means that, like you said, we've got to think smarter with the rest of our budget, and it probably rules out spending that chunk of money on another player. Like, we rumoured to go for Darwin Núñez, going to be 80 million. That won't happen if we get De Jong, because that's the whole budget gone. So it will be really interesting to see what price they actually put on different positions and how they go about the business.
Yeah, it's on that. Like, sorry, quickly on that. It's like, we know there's going to be investment within the infrastructure of the football club this summer as well. So, do you know what I mean? It's like, what does the fan base want from this? If the club go out and spend $250 million in one summer on different things, then you're going to have to take the hit somewhere. Because we're all complaining about the stadium. The training ground needs redeveloping. They're important as bringing players in. It's just the fact that the club is so crap. The team is so crap right now. Everyone's thinking prioritize players again. So it is pivotal that they get this window right with the players, because they are going to have to start investing. You know what I mean? We've seen the under-18s win the FA Youth Cup the other day. We've seen the progress of the women's team, all shining lights to this football club. We can't forget about them. That's important for the future. But right now, because this team is so bad, it does need that. The chunk of this summer's money spent does need to go on the playing staff, the first team staff. But it's just a shame that all the big guns that are going on a free transfer, and we can't recoup much.
Exactly, that's what I mean. I've just had a super chat in actually here from Yoshimo saying Barcelona are selling him because they want to rebuild their squad and can get in 2 to 3 players in his place. Do we not have the exact same need? I mean, we do, but fortunately, we do have the money there. Whether they're willing to pull the hand out of the pocket and spend it, we have the money. Barcelona are in a very, very bad financial situation, so I don't think they'd be selling De Jong unless they absolutely had to, which they do. And luckily for us, like I said, once in a blue moon opportunity, you've got to kind of go in there and get that deal done. Another super chat here from Wang Chuk saying Pogba and Lingard should already be clearing out their lockers. MUFC need to be putting Rashford, Maguire and Aaron Wan-Bissaka on eBay. I mean, it's interesting to see who people actually would go out and sell. In an ideal world, I would be putting Harry Maguire up for sale this summer. And putting a price on him and saying someone come and get him. That's never going to happen because of politics. So you've got to try and get what you can for players that will be up for sale. Players that aren't up for sale, they're going to have to pull up the socks and train very hard, and hopefully we can get something out of them, and that Ten Hag can kind of turn the Manchester United careers around. Because I mean, like I was saying earlier, everyone's Manchester United careers at the moment, every player, apart from De Gea and Ronaldo, going backwards, and Ten Hag needs to come in and help a lot of these players out that can be helped realistically.
Regression is rife, isn't it? That's what it is at this club at the moment.
That's what I mean. And it's not normal for every single player to be regressing. Like, you look at our players and you think, a lot of the time we sit here and say they're just simply not good enough. And I do believe that about a lot of the players, but not the whole squad can't possibly be going through the same thing. And they all can't not be good enough when we've gone out and paid this money for them. There is some people there that we've 100% overpaid for, and they shouldn't be on the wages that they are. I think we know who they are. But there's also some people there that I think they're really in dire need of some coaching. And that's not a get out of jail free card, because it's still not been good enough. But I think, like you said, getting the coaching staff in early is so important. And don't you think as well, De Jong coming in, he knows Ten Hag, and he'll be able to be basically the leader of the project. And do you think that's why Ten Hag really wants him, is his first signing? Because one, he knows him, and he knows what he can do, and he trusts in him.
I mean, of his greatest achievement and greatest season he's had, he could have 2 of his spine players there in that team already there for him. And you know what? They're leading lights. I mean, there is the Dutch invasion right now. I mean, obviously the assistant coming in, obviously Ten Hag himself. I mean, Van der Gaar coming in as well. It's going to need that. It's going to need everyone to be on board with it. And the more that you've got there that actually do understand it, the more chance you've got of everyone else jumping on with it. If it's just one player, one manager, like pretty much Ralf just looked like he was doing the whole job on his own. He was the only one who was on board with the system and the style. He looked like he was up against it from the word go, but he didn't have anyone else behind him there. He had Fletcher there. And you know what I mean? Fletcher needs to just move away from that touchline, get everyone in who knows Fletcher doesn't need to be on the training ground either. You know what I mean? If you want to go on the training ground, then you should be going over to the under-18s or something like that, or under-23s. You know, earn your corn there. You don't belong on the side of the pitch right now. It's not best in class. Ten Hag, in available terms, is best in class. Get the best number 2. You've got Ralf Rangnick doing his bit upstairs. I would say in his position there, that's best as the advisory role. But, you know what I mean? The more players that he can bring in with his staff, and obviously it kicks off, because that is a key area for us that we have been lacking in. And if he's got 2 players in that central midfield berth there that know the system and are going to be fully on board with it, then it is a hell of a start. And you can work from there, because just in front of them 2, you've got the grafter, which is Bruno, which just needs reining in. And like you said, coaching. His energy levels are there to work a Ten Hag system. Can he get him in? Is it going to be a problem with Donny? Does Donny drop further back? This is what he's got. He's got the options there. And then you could probably look at maybe spending the rest of the money possibly on a centre-back or a full-back or even a forward. That's probably where it gets difficult then, because you're talking, and what we're being linked with at the moment is all midfielders. And we know that is a key area, but we are severely lacking up front and at centre-back positions as well as the full-backs, like you said. So he's probably looking at it going, what should I do? What should I do? Should I get the spine right first? You know what? It wouldn't be a bad start, because we know Rome wasn't built in a day, and he's definitely not going to turn it around in a season. So I would start with that spine if he could.
Yeah, 100%. And they were the rumours that are coming out that he wants midfield to sort the midfield out. So you'd 2 midfielders ideally, De Jong, and then obviously we need a centre defensive midfielder. He wants a forward, and he also wants a centre back. We know how desperate we are for fullbacks. We watch this team week in, week out. We know how desperate we are for a right winger as well. But you've got to choose your priorities, and Erik ten Hag can't do it all in one summer. So if you can bring players through, like Ahmad potentially getting more time, Sancho's going to be back fit, and I feel like he's warmed up to the Premier League with Ten Hag's coaching. He'll be way better next season. And you've got areas of the pitch that you can use his coaching ability, and you can also use tools that we've got, like players on loan such as Garner, but you've also got positions that we are desperate to get players in for. And so he's just got to work out what the priority is. The only thing I would say is, does it worry you that we're not going to get the right centre defensive midfielder in, because we are going for De Jong and it's a big price tag, and we also want a forward and a centre back? Does it worry you that again this summer we might actually not be going for the position that we've been ignoring for so long?
Well, it goes back to what we said before. If it's what Ten Hag wants, we get what Ten Hag wants. Do you know what I mean? We're all looking at a system that Ten Hag isn't going to play for our CDM to come in. But we need this holding midfield. We need him. Let's just ask Ten first if he needs him. Oh, no, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with these style players, because my defenders are that close to my central midfielders pushing up that high. I don't need that holding midfielder. My system does not work that way. And if we actually press as a team, we won't have much of a job for a holding midfielder in most of the games in the Premier League, because it's going to be possession based. So he wants ballers as well as grafters on that position. And then you would say, look, okay, who's there? I know Donny van de Beek can get up and down the pitch. I've seen it forever, and I've seen it in the United shirt as well. Obviously, Frenkie de Jong is going to be exactly the same. We know that. I think defensively is where the big problem is going to be for him more than anything. Yeah, putting the ball in the back of the net has been a massive issue this season, but you know what? With Ronaldo there, we can get Sancho on track, like you said there. Obviously, another season for Elanga. Let's see what Ten Hag does with him in the pre-season. It'll be good having the experience under his belt, because he's just drifted off, like I said in a fan vlog at Brighton the other day. I think he's just drifting now. I think it's just been too much. But you know what? It's there. The options are there.
A young player.
It all comes down to that system, Beth, doesn't it, at the end of the day? And like, does Ten Hag want that Conte? Does he want that destroyer in there? Or does he want someone who is going to run the game in there? That's the difference. There's different types of holding midfielders. There's players that can run and use the ball, and there's players that just break it up and give it to the other players. So however he wants to work it, if that's where he wants to invest his money and that's his man for that position, you're just going to have to back it and trust the system.
Oh, definitely. He needs to be backed, and if he doesn't go out and get a central defensive midfielder, and that isn't one of his priorities. You've got to trust in the team that he's building. You've got to trust in the way he's going to play. So it'll be interesting. De Jong is a deep line playmaker, and he could work well next to. He doesn't have to be an out and out CDM like you said. We'll just have to trust to see what he does. But it'll be interesting to see what direction he does go in. You can gather from what he's done at Ajax, but obviously it's the Premier League, so you never know. He might reconstruct things a little bit differently. Super chat here saying, "Hey Beth and Adam, do you think Ralph's consultant position is under threat because of his comments about the players? I'm worried because he is needed." Honestly, with Ralph, I'll let Adam answer this in a second. I think it could go one way or the other. One way is that we slowly hear less and less of him until we all kind of forget about it, and then he's no longer at the club. Or the other way is that they actually do use him because he's in contract, so he's going to be there. They actually do use him, and it massively helps Manchester United's rebuild and massively helps Ten Hag, and we start seeing Manchester United actually change the way they go about transfers. One way or the other for me. What about you, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at it. It is a massive change in landscape at Manchester United. You've got about over half a dozen people in them higher roles upstairs that have been there for nearly 2 decades leaving this summer. So, I mean, it's how much he's obviously on restricted time. He's obviously doing the Austria job. He's on a certain amount of hours a day. You won't hear from him at all. You will never hear from Ralf Rangnick again after the Crystal Palace game. That's a fact. But I'm not bothered if I don't hear from Ralph, as long as I know he's speaking to Ten Hag, which we know is confirmed. He is going to have a meeting with him as soon as the seasons are finished, which is music to every United fan's ears, because he's just going to lay the dirt on the table for him. Once Ten Hag knows, and he will fully trust in Ralf Rangnick's opinion, which is good, Ralf Rangnick's job is done. It is done. Simple as. Because he can then sit upstairs and not have to say things. This is the biggest rebuild. Blah, blah, blah. We say it every single summer, but we know it is because we know who's leaving and who doesn't want to be at the club. So Ralf Rangnick has pretty much done his job before it's even started. He will be there to relay messages for Ten Hag, I'm guessing, to the hierarchy at United, the ones who really don't know about football, of which there is a few. So that's his job. If I don't hear from him ever again, not a problem at all. I just need to see it work on the pitch, and the proof is in the pudding. Like I always say, I use that line a lot. Everything upstairs, if it's working, will show on the pitch eventually, because they've shown back in and it's gone down the ladder all the way to the pitch side from upstairs in the boardroom. If the results on the pitch are working, then it means that there is a cohesion from top to bottom, and that's clear. And it's clear at the top clubs as well. It's going to be interesting how Chelsea actually react to new ownership and how that works in the summer, because they're going to be pretty much in a similar boat to us. It's going to be very stringent on money and not like it was before. So, you know what? Structure is massive within a football club. We spoke about it loads of times. And we'll see with the likes of Chelsea if they can get theirs right straight away. But Manchester United now is in the perfect position to be done. Ralph will play his part, but it'll be a silent one, Beth. And I will give him a farewell wave at Selhurst Park and thank him for the work he's done behind the scenes. It's not worked on it, but really he's laid a foundation for Ten Hag to come in here now and go, right, okay. And do you know what? I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that conversation when them two get together. I really would.
Honestly, so would I, because he's not
Box
only
office.
Yeah, he's not only exposed a lot of people at the club for what they really are in the press conferences. He's been so honest, and I also think he's exposed what we already knew about a lot of these players, that the attitude is not right and the fitness levels are not right. He's come in and just said it how it is, and he's reassured us fans that what we were thinking is correct and that we are far behind, and he's forced the board to pull the finger out and actually do something about it because he's gone and exposed them. And like Andrew Rossi says in the super chat, the attitude and the culture of this club is the first thing that needs to be changed. These players need to know that they don't run this club. A winning attitude is contagious. 100%, I agree with that, and that's something Ten Hag straight away is going to implement when he says to them, guys, come back from your holiday 2 weeks early. Then we'll see who pulls the face. Then we'll see who's happy to do that. And I think it'll be very telling from early on what's going to happen, and that Ten Hag is finally going to run the show, which is what we all want. And Ralph actually did play a part in that as well, influencing them to go for a manager that has got a higher ceiling, plays exciting football, he's on the rise. I think yes, the results haven't been what they should be, but a lot of that comes down to a lot of other different factors as well. I think for consultancy role, what he came in to do, I think he's done excellent in that department, if I'm honest. But yeah, moving on to another potential transfer this summer, which might be one of them where, Adam, you roll your eyes and think, what is this? What is this coming out tonight? We've got Roberto Di Fanti saying, I believe this summer could be the time that Milinkovic-Savic leaves Lazio, and I won't be surprised if his destination is Manchester United. I can say for sure that there are already whispers there that he could move to Old Trafford in time for next season. And apparently as well, although his valuation is going to be fairly high because he's a top player, I hear things about his price being somewhat to be crazy, like 100 million euros. I just know it'll never be that much, especially as he only has 1 year left on his contract. I think I can sense Milinkovic-Savic wanting a move, and obviously Manchester United is the main target to get the news going, get the headlines. What are you making of this news coming out tonight, Adam?
Yeah, it's silly season, and it kicking into overdrive. We've talked about it off camera many a times. Wesley Sneijder, Nicola Gaitan, Milinkovic-Savic. It is just, there's always the one there. I can't see it happening personally, especially if we buy De Jong. And let's be honest, I think everyone would take De Jong over Milinkovic-Savic.
Yep.
There's a reason he's been in Italy for so long. Why has no one come in? Why none of the big teams? And it's not been top of the league of Italy. You know what I mean? Lazio, it's one of them. Why has he not been sold before? Why has no one come in for him? He's probably one of them players that is just on the outskirts of being right to come in for a lot of the top teams. And the only reason he's being talked about is because of what you just said then, Beth, is because his deal is coming. And when agents offer you players, then really no scouting involved is a red flag straight away. Why has he never moved? Why is his contract going all the way down to 1 year and no one's picked him up? Come and get me, please, because I know at this age, this is the last chance I've got for a big money signing and a big contract for my agent and myself. Who pays big money and big contracts and stupid agent fees? Whoa, it's all muggings over here, Manchester United. No, leave that one where it is. I would say, yeah, could probably do a job for United. Strong, but he takes me as a sort of Mourinho sort of type of player personally. And I think that ship sailed out a long time ago. I would say in a Ten Hag system, not quite for me, no, Beth. And like you said, it's one of them minutes. Do we need that player if we're going to get Frenkie de Jong? And I would say probably prioritise Frenkie if Ten Hag wants him. But at the end of the day, if, like we said before, Beth, if Ten Hag comes in and he says, I want Milinkovic-Savic, then we go with it. We trust the manager again. But he's just a player that's been lingering around under several different managers at Manchester United, and that's my concern. It's like none of them have bit, none of them have taken him, and yeah, the price tag may come into it, but you know what? No one else has come in for him either. So there's a red flag there for me on Milinkovic-Savic. So I would say no, definitely not for me, Beth.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it's a deal that we'll do. I think it's too much money for what it is. I think, like you said, everyone, including Ten Hag, would massively prefer Frenkie de Jong, a better fit for the project that's going to take place. And also, like you said, we need to be getting Erik Ten Hag signings in. We need to be getting the manager signings in. And Milinkovic-Savic has been linked to Manchester United for season after season after season. We know it's not a Ten Hag signing. We know it's not someone he's got at the top of his list and he's after. It's someone either trying to get a new deal or also trying to make a move and potentially get big money contract for the latter years of the career. I 100% agree with you. And the fact he hasn't moved to any different clubs over the years, especially away from the Italian league, which often you see the Italian league and they've got brilliant players, but it is a bit of a slower league to the Premier League. And we've seen Paul Pogba have great games in the Premier League, but we've also seen him struggle with consistency. And he tore it up in the Italian league. And him coming out and saying, I think that he is a perfect replacement for Paul Pogba and has got the same characteristics. Well, that isn't really music to my ears because I think Paul Pogba's not not been as impressive as he should have been in Manchester United and not made the impact as that he should have done. I think he's a great player that hasn't had a successful career. So we don't at Manchester United, it's just not worked out. So I think last thing we want is another player like that. And last thing we want is throwing 70, 80 million at a player that isn't going to be able to fit into Ten Hag system and isn't a Ten Hag signing. So I don't think that'll happen, but you never know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. And this Italian super agent as well, Robert Di Fanti, has also come out and said that if Conte leaves Spurs, he thinks Kane will go. And if that does happen, the only club the Englishman would want to go to now is Manchester United. Another link to us. And Harry Kane, world-class player, ridiculously good striker. Are we in need of a striker? 1,000% yes. But also, I personally don't think Conte is going to leave Spurs. I think he's improved it already, and I think he's going to continue that project. And also, why on earth would he come to Manchester United when Spurs are in a better position than us at the moment, and we've not even got Champions League football? And are Manchester United really going to give 100 million over to Spurs when we've just got Erik ten Hag in and we need to rebuild a full squad? I mean, what do you think of that one?
That's the biggest load of garbage I've ever heard in my life. Harry Kane is never going to be seen in a Manchester United shirt, in my opinion. It would take something ridiculous for Harry Kane to be at Manchester United. Spurs are in a better position, like I said. They've got the elite manager there. I don't see Conte going either. I agree with you on that one, Beth. I really don't think he's going to give up that project now. I think the big thing for Conte would be how much money he gets this summer, and then I think the kickoff and the fallout would be next season for him. He's going to need backing, especially if they make the Champions League, because he's a elite manager and he wants to compete at the highest level with the best managers out there. We've already seen what Spurs have done this season to Liverpool and City. I think they've taken 8 points off Liverpool and City this season. What other team can say that? And yeah, I think Espirito Santo did it in the first game against City, but I think everything else was Conte, if I can remember right. I can't be 100% on that, but still, to have a team that is that good, a team that was that bad and he's turned them around, I think there's a project there for Conte, and I don't believe he'll come to Manchester United. Harry Kane, not a chance in hell that he'll come to Manchester United. Like you said, then right now, it pains me to say, but it's a backward step. Yeah, there's a project for Ten Hag, but at his age as well, he's not looking for a project. He's looking to win things. And that pretty much KOs that deal completely. And for him to say the only club that would be interested, nah, come on, give your head a wobble. That's just putting out a story there for people to click onto, for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if Harry Kane wanted to leave Spurs, I'm sure there'd be a lot of clubs interested. But last season, City were willing to pay the money. Levy wouldn't let up. And now they're definitely not going to go for him because they've just confirmed Haaland. So if you're Harry Kane, you sat there thinking, well, that move's gone. If Conte's staying, he's turned it around, like you said. Do I stay on board for this project that he's been such a massive part of? And I think Conte with Spurs, if he stays this season, which I think he will, that is a massive competitor for next season. I'm telling you, what he's done already. That team were really, really poor when he came in. Really poor. And do you know what? Fair enough to leave it. He gave him a bit of money. He invested, and the signings have really paid off. Really paid off, and he's managed to turn it around, and Kane is a massive part of that. So I think a few years ago, if you mentioned Harry Kane, there was a time in the world when that deal could have happened and maybe would have happened. But I think, like you said, I think it's too far gone now, and I think it's not something that's going to happen. And I think Manchester United are going to actually maybe listen to Ralf Rangnick on this one and go for our own version of a player that he's younger, isn't established 100%, but we can use Ten Hag to make him established and make him a top player. And that's something you'd really like to see Manchester United doing, considering it's not something we've done in such a long time. I don't think I can remember the last time we actually brought a player in that wasn't a big name and then made them into a big name. Like, I can't remember the last one. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Beth and Adam, De Jong is good, but he's not a 65 million midfielder. He's on 350k a week. Also, his stats aren't that great either. At best, a 40 mil player.
Go on. I mean, I'll spin that one around.
Shut it down.
Sorry, I'll spin that around and maybe twist it up a little bit. Yeah, I understand that 65 million price tag is not. He is what a club will spend on him. But if you sold Wan-Bissaka, Eric Bailly, Henderson, Phil Jones, and made that money that way, would you be that bothered about spending 65 million? Because them players are contributing absolutely nothing to this football club right now. Would you be happy spending 65 million on that player then? Would that make you feel better? Because then wages would be covered and more as well, and he would be contributing to the club. So it's where the club actually make their mark and how they use this summer. Like we said, there's players there, there's assets there that you can use, make that money up, and we're not into the budget of what we've said already in terms of like the 100 or 150 million. It's just down to the club. The player's worth whatever a club will pay for him. We've seen that. It's horrible because we've seen Man United spend the same amount of money on Wan-Bissaka as City has on Haaland. It's a horrible feeling, but it's what United are going to have to do this summer. They're going to have to probably pay the odd over the top price, but they can make it back. They can make that price back. And like you said, is Frenkie de Jong better than Paul Pogba right now?
Well, this is what I was going to say. We paid 89 million for Paul Pogba, and how many goals and assists is he providing per season? Not as much as we would have wanted. And I think you look at the market nowadays. Yes, City have done the release clause thing for Haaland, so it's not exactly. If Haaland didn't have a release clause, he'd be 150 million pound player there, 100%. And it's unfortunate that they've been able to do that deal. But I think 65 million for De Jong is actually a good price. And he's on 350k a week. So is Jadon Sancho. We've just brought him here, and he's not as established, I don't think, as Frenkie de Jong in his position. I think Jadon Sancho is a great winger, and he's a great up and coming winger in Europe. But did he warrant 350k a week when we went and bought him? Not in my opinion, no. And so this is unfortunately what the club has done. They've done big wages. So when players come in, they're going to want it the exact same. So when you look at the rest of our wage bill and look at signings we've done in the past, I really do think it would be a great deal. And I think Manchester United would get a great player for that price. I really do. I never understood fans complaining about what the club might pay for a player. It's not coming out of our pockets. I'm happy to see the Glazers spend. Too right. It is not coming out of our pockets. The only thing that worries me is that we don't. Someone's phone's ringing over here. The only thing that worries me is that we spend all of our transfer money up and then we don't have enough to go and get other players. I can understand why people would worry about that. But yeah, I think 60 million, 65 million is a very good price for Frenkie de Jong. Koulibaly's agent, Fali Ramadani, has offered his client to MUFC. Koulibaly, similar to Milinkovic-Savic, is a name that has been linked to Manchester United when Jose Mourinho's era. I think we were linked to him at the start of Ollie's era as well. He's a very good centre-back, but he's another one that's always been rumoured to be coming to a club in the Premier League. Manchester City was on the cards for him. Manchester United has been on the cards for him. Is he someone that you can that like the Milinkovic-Savic just has never got that move? And again, it's the rumour mill coming out, and it's not actually got the potential to materialise. Or is that someone you would want to see in a Manchester United shirt at Old Trafford?
Again, it's another boat that's sailed by. Like you said, it's too long. I mean, if we really wanted this man, we would have bought him a while ago when we had the opportunity. I think he's coming up age-wise now as well. And we don't need established centre-backs at this football club. And is he established? I mean, he's not really been picked out by any of the major clubs either. So I say that again, when an agent starts offering you his player, it kind of just throws that red flag up and looks like pure desperation to me from the agent side of things. That, okay, yeah, he may have been good a few years ago and maybe has performed okay, but we're looking to build a project, and I don't think at that age he's that type of player to come in now to Manchester United. Again, I'd rather develop a younger player coming through. I'd rather take a Timber or someone like that as a centre-back, younger, hungry, and he's actually on board again with the project. Oh, it all comes down to, like we said at the start, if Ten Hag wants him and he thinks he can do his job, fair enough, you take him. But for me, again, along with Milinkovic-Savic, it's old news. It's old news, and that ship has sailed a long time ago. So the red flags on both of them for me, Beth.
Yeah, he's also 30 years old. I've literally just looked up, and I didn't
That's what
realize.
I thought.
I knew he was getting up towards the latter end of his 20s, but I didn't realize he was 30. So I don't want to be going for a player that's 30 and offering massive wages out like that. I want to be going for, like we said, we need to reset this club. Be going for younger players that can be part of the project, hungry players that are going to be here and want to work hard to get into this team. And that's exactly the direction Ralf wants to go in as well. He wants to change it up this summer and make sure we invest in the right type of players. And Koulibaly, he's one of them. He'll always be linked to Manchester United. There's players that always are, but I think, like you said, it was a potential a couple of years ago. Now I think it's just someone that's always been linked to us. So we're an easy name for people to link to, and I think we'll be definitely going for more of a younger centre back to come in and that Ten Hag can work with and adapt his style onto him and progress him as a player as part of our project. And
Agree,
to me, Koulibaly definitely isn't that player. And we've got another super chat here from I Am the Truth. Honestly, would prefer a Tchouaméni and Basuma rather than De Jong. I watch him play and think he really lacks physicality. I also, I think if someone had to make me pick, I would go for that. I would go for Tchouaméni and Basuma because you're getting two players, and I've made my feelings known about Tchouaméni for a long time. I think he's a brilliant up and coming central defensive midfielder that it would be a seriously good deal, and I think he could thrive in the Premier League. But Frenkie de Jong lacking physicality, I think Frenkie de Jong would 100% be able to work in the Premier League. Do you think he would struggle with his physicality, Adam?
No, I mean, you like you said, you've got to give the guy a chance in there, first of all. I mean, physicality is one thing when you've not a possession-based team. You need that sort of physical presence there, but it depends how Ten wants to play, and that's what it comes down to. If he feels like that type of player in Frenkie de Jong is going to do a certain role for him, then he doesn't need as much of the physicality. But I mean, I think physicality comes under a lot of different brackets, a lot of different areas. It's like you've got to be physical in terms of your ability to get up and down the pitch. You have to be combative in the tackle. And let's be honest, we've seen N'Golo Kante. You don't have to be massive to be physical. It's what Ralf gets out of him. Ten got the best out of him at Ajax. If he believes he can do it again, then you've got to trust the manager. I mean, how physical is the Premier League at the moment? It's getting poorer and poorer with the way the decisions are going. But I do believe that I think he'll be fine in the Premier League, Frenkie de Jong. I do. It's just if he believes in what's going on. He's quite clearly not hit it off at Barcelona. But is going back to Ten Hag going to be that catalyst, that moment where he actually comes back to life again and shows it? That's the sort of gamble. It's like, you're going to get Ajax, Frenkie, or you're going to get Barca, Frenkie? Can Ten Hag actually bring back out the player that everyone was raving about alongside Donny? That's what it is. And if Barcelona's system didn't suit him, then he's probably going to show him up to be worse in terms of his stats and stuff like that. Sometimes it just doesn't work. We've seen, I mean, you can name a few midfielders that have gone to Barcelona and Real Madrid from the Premier League that just don't work. It's a different game altogether. I mean, what Coutinho at Barcelona as well. I mean, look, what did he? He's gone to Villa for 17 million. And what was it? 150 million from Liverpool or something like that when they bought him. It doesn't always work. So, yeah, I think physicality comes in different forms. It's how Ten Hag wants him to play. That's what's more important to me.
Do you think having the likes of Donny van de Beek there will be important if he comes in? Because obviously they've had a relationship before that. They've both thrived when they played with each other. Do you know what I mean? And to bring that back at Old Trafford with the manager that established that as well is something really exciting for the fans to look forward to. And
partnership, like I said.
Yeah, partnership, definitely.
We've not had it before. We've not had it for a long time, and it would be nice to see one, like a camaraderie between a couple of players that we know we can rely on. It works for us, and that will breed confidence within the rest of the team.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean as well. It's like when Donny van de Beek, when he first came in, the reason why the coaches and people behind the scenes said he wasn't playing was because they thought he lacked physicality. Whereas when I've seen him play for Everton, and 100% he's not played as much as he should have because of injuries and stuff like that, which is unfortunate, I didn't think he seemed to have any problem with his physicality at all. I think he's a great ball winner, a challenger of the ball, and I think he ran Everton's midfield really well in a couple of games. So I think sometimes people often have perceptions about what makes a physical player, like literally what you said, but there is a lot of different aspects about it. People tout Scott McTominay as a physical player. Does it make him a good player? No, it doesn't. If you look at performances Donny van der Beek has had at United, few and far between the minutes he's had, I think he's shown himself some real character and has shown that he is a very good footballer that can play in the Premier League, and hopefully we'll be able to see that under Erik ten Hag.
Yeah, 100%. That's it.
I do agree that De Jong would work, but we need more than that. I really believe that bringing him and Kamara for free would work wonders. Smart moves. I agree with you. You said on your morning show the other day, Adam, that Kamara is a deal that we should be going in for on a free.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think we should be going for that. But can you see Manchester United doing that, knowing that we had the opportunity in January and we didn't reach out for it then? Does it change now Ten Hag's in the building, or are we still got the same views, do you reckon?
Depends on the lie of the land, doesn't it? And how everything's actually going to work at Manchester United now that Ten Hag is coming in. So whatever we usually say, United do the complete opposite. So I would say, no, United can't get this done, because what we see is one thing, what the clubs see is another. And it's like the Frenkie de Jong deal. It's like no one's seen that coming. No one's seen that coming. Because of the price tag, really. We was all thinking we were on a budget, and then all of a sudden, United are coming out with the news that we're in for a £65 million player. It doesn't make sense, but honestly, I did say in my morning show video, I thought Kamara was a no-brainer, like Mukulele from RB Leipzig at right back, another cheaper option there. You sell Wan-Bissaka. You can do a lot of work this summer, a lot of good work. It's whether, like you said, Manchester United can do it when it comes to it. When the summer arrives and that window opens, how quickly can we move? How swift can we get these deals over the line and let Ten Hag take a good nucleus of his team that he wants over to the Far East for the pre-season tour? Because it's going to be key. It's going to be key that he gets time with these players early doors. And like you said, our season is going to be starting, 2 weeks sooner, because the players are just unfit. I mean, I can't think the players would moan about that. They've had 5 holidays already this season, so I don't think finishing this one off 2 weeks early, I don't think any one of these players could complain about that. But yeah, it makes sense. Kamara, I mean, yeah, it's unproven, but there's going to be a lot of unproven players coming to Manchester United this summer. It's if Ten Hag likes that player and thinks he can develop him. I feel like we've got the right man in charge of it right now, and we've just got to trust in what he wants.
Yeah, that's what I mean. A lot of the best players as well that have come in the Premier League haven't always been the big names that come in, and they've come into teams and they've established themselves and become that big name. It's like this is what excites me as well. Ten Hag has done that at Ajax. He's brought players through and made them the big name, and then they've sold them because they are a selling club. So if Ten Hag can work his magic on some players that we might bring in, some of our youth players as well, I think it's an exciting time for Manchester United, and it really is exciting knowing that we've got a manager who actually is extremely competent, and he's proven it coaching his players, which is something that we have been desperately lacking for a long time. Speaking about other changes at Manchester United and the board and everything like that, this summer, really important one for John Murtough, because I mean, we've seen he's come in, he's done a little bit already. People singing his praises a little bit. I like what he's done so far. Apparently a big fan of Rangnick, which I like that, because I think Rangnick is someone that you should be listening to. And he's led Manchester United's overhaul of the academy, as well as pumping extra money in and recruiting from overseas, coming from the Telegraph. And there's a belief internally that the under-18s progressed to the U Cup final is because of that investment. And apparently he also thinks that there's even more potential in the younger age groups. You've seen that this actually has happened. We have been putting a lot more money / work into our academy and recruiting players that great players that have come in and really look like they've got a future ahead of them. I mean, Garnacho, the other night, we watched him. He looks like a really good talent coming through. Garner's one that's on loan at the moment that Ten Hag can come in and use. Do you think you will see Ten Hag dive into the youth a little bit more and dive into a category of players that I think are looking to take the next step up now, and we need to see whether they can be good enough for Manchester United?
Yeah, I think that communication between Murto and Ten Hag, I think that's a relationship we should keep our eyes on. I think the work that Murto has done, I mean, the signings in his first window were all agreed, signings that we needed in the right positions. We couldn't get that holding midfielder over the line, but this was based on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's system and what Ole had after 3 years at the wheel. And we knew we needed that player for him. We didn't get it. So Murto now and that relationship with Ten Hag is key, because if anything, Murto is going to back what he's done and put his time and effort into in that youth team. And we know Ten Hag likewise likes to promote youth, and he likes to nurture the youth coming through and actually mould them into the player that he needs. He's a full-on, hands-on coach. He's a tracksuit manager. Even though he wears a suit well, but he is what I would say is the tracksuit manager, and is into absolutely everything. So yeah, I do think he will go into the youth. I do. I think he'll have a closer look at the likes of Hannibal. I mean, Shoretire. There's a few there that you could look at. I mean, Garnacho is one down from them. I mean, the kid's 17. And he's a shining light right now. He's played on the under-23s as well as the under-18s this season. So, yeah, I would say definitely. And like you said then, that investment, bringing a Garnacho in from Atletico Madrid, being on the button, being there and being able to see that talent and bring it through. And now look at him. Wow. You've got a player there who is on the cusp of taking it to the next level. Have we got the manager coming in to do that and deal with that? Yes, we have. So you can't help but feel a little bit excited. Obviously, holding back a little bit because we know we've messed up a lot of our young players before, brought them in too early, bigged them up too early. But I do believe that Garnacho is one of them players that we can actually look at and go, that's a player there. Charlie McNeil probably needs filling out a bit more. Physical side of the centre forward. Garnacho, that winger, I think, is there ready. And I said, like Kobe Mainoo, the central midfielder, as well as another player who is physical, great on the ball, fantastic in the air for his size.
Yeah.
And he's overdeveloping already physically. I think there's a couple of players there that stand out for me. A lot of people were talking about Reece Bennett as a centre-back as well in that game and how well he led it. There's a few in there. Obviously, they're coming up now. So, what, 18, 19 when Ten Hag comes in. It's a good age to actually have a look at, because that's key. You sort of see the development there at that age. And I think with what Ten Hag's got and what staff he's bringing with him, with Murto, who is fully behind that, Beth, that's a decent combination. I think we can actually look forward to and think, you know what, there is a positive there. Definitely a positive more than anything else at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. And it was really nice for the fans to actually see that we've got some positives in the football club when we obviously went to the FA Cup Youth Final, and see that there is talent there. That obviously under 18s, they're not quite ready yet, but there is a few that you've really got to keep an eye on, because I think there is some good talent there. And like you said, Garnacho did seem to stand out, and I think he is someone that especially with, you know, Europa League football, Europa Conference League potentially next year, these players could have an opportunity to actually get a bit of experience. Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's the only upside to being in them garbage competitions, isn't it, realistically?
Yeah, that's it. You can play 4 or 5 youth players in there. That goes right back to the start of the show in terms of like who's leaving. Does Ten Hag want a squad to actually play in the Europa League as well in the early stages, just to get through? And that's to give yourself a little bit of a get out of jail card in terms of the Europa League later on in the season. We just get through by using reserve players or players that don't play in the Premier League that much, the ones just on the cusp, the bench players, through the competition early, get through. Then if the league isn't working right, you've obviously got a competition still there. So it depends on how big a squad he wants. That's the thing. But I do believe in terms of he's going to just come in and go, you're not going to work hard enough for me, see you later. You're not going to work hard enough, see you later. It's just going to be one of them. So I don't see it being a massive squad. I think he would dive into the youth rather than bringing a player that's going to be sat there not really wanting to put the effort in. Like a la Lingard, Rashford, anyone like that who doesn't want to pull a shift now. I think he'll probably just say, look, well, in these games, I'm just going to play a youth player, bring that in. And like I said, we've seen Rashford and Lingard's face and their issues this season while Langer's been playing in front of them. You know what? If you don't learn from that, then there's no hope in you. Get out. Simple as.
Exactly. And you'll actually have youth players and players in that team looking up to the likes of Ronaldo and not being tainted by the likes of some players that are leaving that haven't been quite successful at Manchester United and rumoured to be also not the best behind the scenes and potential leaks as well. I think if you're bringing young players hungry to play for the shirt, bringing some youth players through, you're not going to see nearly half as many leaks coming out week in, week out because there's an element of professionability there and
culture.
And culture, knowing your place, and also having that relationship with the manager. I mean, you saw it when Ajax lifted the trophy. You could tell that they have a very good relationship with Ten Hag. So it should be exciting for our fans because we've not had a manager like that and who's had a real connection for quite a while, to be honest with you. So hopefully everything goes well. We've got a super chat here. Someone's playing Football Manager here. Sale. Martial 20 million, Basaka 20 million, Tellers 10 million, Henderson 25 million, Andreas 5 million, Bayer 10 million, and then you've got all the incomings there. Honestly, I don't think you're going to get De Jong for 55, but if you had 10 on and that's a net spend of 140, you've cracked it. You've cracked the code. I think John Murto should be looking here for his next potential director of football.
Inspiration. Yeah. Kisseley's doing what I did the other day on my morning show. When you break it down, it is doable. It's obviously on the front of it, it's doable. When you get down to the nitty gritty and you've got the agents and everything and like the clauses and whatnot in these contracts of these players, it gets a little bit more complicated and the water gets a bit muggier. But you know what? What is the point of having a player with a club that isn't going to contribute?
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to. We've got players there on absolute fortunes that just aren't going to play, and we know they're not going to play. And Ralph's made a point of that, and he's actually outed the club in that way by saying, "Look, you've got all these players here. I mean, I mentioned them before, the likes of Bailly, Henderson, Jones, Wan-Bissaka. All these players are massive, massive money that you know he's not going to play, he's not going to use. You have to sort of maybe sell 3 or 4." Bring in one for that price that is going to work, and then use the youth in behind that, because the youth players will get game time this season with there being 5 substitutes. So that's going to be very interesting, and the cut and thrust of this Ten Hag style will definitely benefit the 5 sub rule, because there'll be players there that you might think need changing up because they're looking a bit worn out. 5 substitutes works perfect for Ten Hag. Another plus point for our season going forward, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Some really exciting stuff actually come out today. And do you know what, talking about it actually makes me excited for the upcoming season, because this season, what a write-off it has actually been. And obviously we can't wait for it to be over now as Manchester United fans. We've been embarrassed pit to post. We've had players turning us down for potential transfers, no UCL football. We've had players turning on the fans, in my opinion, completely turning on the fans. And it'll be exciting to have a manager come in who immediately gets to work, gets started, and puts a lot of these players in the place. And I think what we've needed for a long time is a revolution and a new project. And we need the fans to be connected to the players again, because like you've seen it doing the fan vlogs all over the country, so many of these fans just aren't connected to this team anymore. And a lot of that comes from just how up and down we've been, and the turnover of managers, the lack of coaching from the staff that are already there, the lack of effort from the board to change things around. So hopefully, we see a different Manchester United from the start of next season, and we end up having a great transfer window that Ten Hag can build on, and it's the first of many, I hope.
That's exactly it. It's all about the start in terms of this summer. Get in, get early, start getting things done and dusted, because we can't afford to start off slow next season. We've got the World Cup in between it as well, and it's just it's not gonna help us if we have a slow start. It really won't. So I look at it and I go, look, get the deals done early, get behind the manager, get everything in place, get as many players as you can out on that pre-season tour, and actually let's start to work on this new system, because that's what it's going to be all about. It's an adaptation of something new, and if the fans like it and the fans get on board with it, then the players, well, they've got nowhere to hide. And like we said, the disconnect this season, Beth, the players are really going to have to up their game for next season. It's going to be from us. It's going to be from the manager. The demand on this team next season is going to be immense. And if they don't, then you're probably not going to see them again. And that's what's important. I think Ten Hag needs to wield the axe. And if the club do back him on that, I think we'll be the best thing for us going forward.
I hope so, best team.
Yeah,
I think that might take a little bit longer, but obviously we just a little pop-up there. Ronaldo on Ten Hag. I know that he has done a fantastic job at Ajax and that he is an experienced coach, but we have to give him time. Things must change the way he wants if he does well. I don't know what that says at the end. Can you work that out, Adam?
All of does well. All of #M.
#M. Well, guys, we'll leave you on that note and you can work that out for yourselves. So have fun with that one. Oh, there we go. You
can win titles.
Yeah, can win titles. Right, Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo is going to stay this summer, and I think he's going to be a really important part of the project for sure.
It does look like that now, yeah.
Yeah. So Ronaldo playing Europa League football or potentially Europa Conference League football. Stick around for next season. But anyway, guys, great show with Adam. Thank you, Adam, for coming on, and thank you for talking us through everything, all the transfer news, all the stories. An exciting time for Manchester United, and obviously, thank you everyone for the super chats as well. It's been an enjoyable show. It's been a good show, and actually excited for next season now.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, absolutely buzzing for next season, and hopefully we'll have some more upbeat fan forums and match day vlogs and everything else this season. But one more game to go. One more. And it all starts again.
Yes, one more game, and then we've got a little bit of a break, but it's going to be transfer heavy. There's going to be transfers, and we're going to be here on the United Stand every single day to bring you all the latest breaking news. And obviously, looking below me right now, the United Stand. Make sure you do smash a like on the video, subscribe, leave your comments down below. Who do you want to see come to Manchester United this summer? Do you think De Jong would be a good signing? Is it too heavy on the price? What do you guys think? I'll have a look through the comments as well later on. And yeah, just get your thoughts in down below. And remember that Goldbridge is on TalkSport at 10 p.m. live streaming. So it's on the radio. It'll be live streamed through YouTube. And I personally can't wait to see what he's going to come out with and what he's said. And yeah, make sure you head over there at 10 p.m. Thank you, everyone, for making this a great show. And we will see you on the next one.